Hello and welcome to the ninth lesson of the intensive speaking course. Please raise your hands if you can hear my voice, if you can hear me and the way that I'm speaking and everything I'm saying. Please raise your hand. What is up, everybody? As you can see by my face, by my neck, I have had a great week. My week has been amazing. I have been suffering. Last week was terrible. Every single day until Sunday. Sunday was the only day when I felt like perfectly fine, I think, mostly. I've just been in pain. My whole body was hurting. My head was like, it was busting open. It was constantly bad, like all the time. And I had to lay down in bed. I just had to lay in bed because I couldn't do anything else. This is the last week of the intensive speaking course. We're going to be having lessons every single day. So from Monday until Friday, from the 19th to the 23rd. And then the 24th and 25th, we will be having lessons. We'll be having feedback sessions, I think, sometime during the day. So we're going to be doing lessons this whole week. So this whole week, every single day, we're going to be doing stuff. And I'm excited for it. And I hope you guys are doing good. I have some more news, by the way, on that topic, on that note. I have a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm currently in the process of writing the book. I started yesterday, I think. Yesterday I started. I was feeling good, and I started planning and kind of getting really into it, and today is the first day when I started actually writing it. It should be out, I think, sometime either next week, or I'll kind of figure that out when it'll be out. But yeah, I'm writing a book about IELTS speaking. It's going to have most of the lessons that we have been learning right now and more, and it's very comprehensive. I tried my best to kind of get as deep into IELTS speaking as I could, and every single topic kind of plan it out and see how one person could go through the whole book and learn what they need to learn about IELTS speaking, all the information. It's basically the ultimate guide to IELTS speaking. Today I have a lot of drinks. I've got some coffee, some fused tea, and also some normal juice. I am very energized and ready for today to get back into learning. We're going to be doing a lesson today. 1 second, where is it? Oh, okay, cool. Today we're going to be doing a lesson that is named wrongly. It's actually Monday, week 4, and it is the 19th. Yeah, so sorry, let's do this. 12, 19. Cool. Okay, so it's the 19th. And I'm excited to see you here. Glad you guys are still watching after all this time. There's 20 people now, but that's okay. We're going to be doing fine. Okay, give me a moment. Okay, cool. So let's get into today's lesson. And today we have a very important topic. It doesn't seem very important, but actually this topic can be expanded very much. This topic is about driving and transport. And specifically, I think one thing to keep in mind is like road laws, right? So things connected to roads. And while this topic seems small, this vocabulary is actually very versatile, and it's very important to learn a lot of these words. Not all of them, but a lot of them are usable for topics like hometown. A lot of them are very usable for topics connected to like world events, world news, and there's a lot of topics connected to certainly the environment, because of course roads and the environment are very connected. So yeah, good vocab, really good vocab, and especially the collocations here today are really cool. So yeah, let's get into it. The first word for today is road sign. Road sign is like a stop sign or any kind of sign on the road. We call that a road sign. Next is the brake. Brake is so you have like brake, like for example, brake my hand. And you have brake, like a car, like when you're driving, and then you press the stop on the car. That's called the car brake. By the way, am I loud enough? Like, am I hearable? Let me make myself a little bit louder. Okay. I think that should be better. You should be able to hear me easier. Okay. So yeah, car brake is like the thing that stops the car. Bumper is the front part of the car. It's like the front or the back part. It's the plastic usually part of the car, and it says that it absorbs impact. I'm not sure it does that. They get dented sometimes, but yeah, bumper is like it's a part of a car. Car crash, and also I think another good synonym, another good collocation, I guess, is car collision. So car crash is like whenever your your car it hits another car, right? Car collision is the same thing. So car collision and car crash are direct synonyms. They are good words to know. Yeah, collision. Service. Car service is it's like the people that it's the people that fix your car when it breaks. Yeah, that's it. In Tashkent, there's a lot of like car service dealerships. Another word is actually, I'm gonna write this down. Car dealership. Car dealership are the people that sell you the car. It's like usually a big building with glass walls, and they have like cars inside. And you come in and there's like a guy. He's called the car salesman. So the car salesman comes up to you and he's like, "Hey, why do you need a car?" "Oh, for work." "Okay, I recommend you the Ferrari." Da 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 da. And that guy works at a dealership who sell cars. Car service is the place where they fix your car when it breaks. Crosswalk or zebra crossing. Another word for this is intersection. Some people say that like one of these words is British and one of them is American. I don't think so. I think it just depends on like whether you want to say it as more informal or more formal. I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't think that it depends on the accent. But these are all the same meaning. It is like the place where you cross the road. Crosswalk. Actually, I just realized something. Sorry. Intersection is a synonym of crossroads. My brain turned off for a second. Crossroads is like when two roads are like this, and intersection is a synonym, crossroad. But crosswalk is where you have a road, and then there's like the white lines where you can cross it. That's actually a mistake. I apologize. Yeah, intersection and crossroads are a different word. Let me do that. Okay. Dashboard. Dashboard is like the front part of the car, where you have all of the, I guess, like stuff, right? Like you have the radio, you have all of the buttons, you have all of the information about how fast the car is going, etc. So all the vehicle details. It's basically the display in the front of the car. Let's continue. Driver's license. This is your document that tells you that you can drive your car. Fine is when you have to pay money for breaking some kind of road law. Let's continue. Hit and run. Hit and run is a type of accident, like a road accident, where a person hits another car and then they just keep driving. They just drive away. And this can be like, usually a hit and run is when you're driving like this, like you're going forward, and then they come by and they're like, they hit you like this, like they hit the side of you, and then they keep driving. Because it's difficult to do a hit and run. Like if you hit into the back of the car, right? Like this is your this is your car, and then like they hit you in the back. It's difficult for them to just drive away. So hit and run is usually called like a side swipe. I'm actually gonna write that down. Yeah. So it's like when they hit each other side to side, it's called a side swipe, and it's a type of hit and run. Next is lane. A lane is like a part of the road. So you have like a road, and it's divided into lanes, That is the definition. Okay. Oh, this word right here. So petrol gauge is a tool to tell you how much fuel is in your car. It's like it's one of the there's a word for it. Indicator. So your petrol gauge is a type of indicator that tells you. I'm actually going to write that down. Indicator, a part of the car, a part of. So an indicator basically tells you some kind of fact, right? Like, for example, how much fuel do you have left in your car, or how many miles have you driven in your car? A petrol gauge is one of those indicators that tells you how much fuel you have. This word is important. Keep this word in mind, gauge. Let's continue. Traffic violation. This is basically like whenever you break the rules, you create a violation. You can also say a rules violation, I guess it can be called. Traffic rules violation. Traffic laws. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Windscreen wiper. A windscreen wiper is. You can also actually call it a windshield wiper. This is basically the part of the car that it's like you have your window right in the front that you can use to look outside and you can see where you're going. And sometimes, there's rain or there's snow. And the windshield wiper, it's like a stick and it goes like this. And it cleans your window. So that's the windshield wiper. Yeah. Tow away. So basically, sometimes your car, like you put it somewhere where you should not put it. For example, you put it in front of somebody else's house where the area in front of their house belongs to them. Some people pay the government for owning that place. And so you put your car there, and what they can do is they can call the agency, and those people take away your car. And then you have to pay them money to take back your car. So that is called being towed. Yeah. So tow away is like take away somebody's car, basically. And they have like a special car that they use to take away other people's cars. Okay, next is the word engine. Engine is the part of the car which makes it go vroom vroom. It makes it go forward and backwards and stuff. Yeah, basically the movement part of the car. Okay. Oh, indicator. Good. Okay. An indicator is not just something that tells you that you can go left or right. As I said before, it's some kind of like instrument that can give you any kind of information. Okay. Let's move on to the next part. Give me a second. Also, I'm going to go wash my hands. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to go wash my hands. I have no idea why, but during lessons, very often my hands become really dry. And like I remember during the first speaking course, what I would do is I would have like a water bottle next to my table, and I would just take the water and I would like pour it on my hands and then I would mix them. I have no idea why they get so dry. It's like they never get dry normally. Never do I actually feel like my hands are too dry. Like I can draw, I can do anything, I can touch things, but then as soon as I start intensive speaking course lessons, I can feel that my hands are too dry. I don't understand. Maybe it's because I move my hands so much and the air makes my hands dry. Maybe we don't know. But anyway, that's a very interesting phenomenon. I have to think about that. Okay, idioms and collocations. Let's get into it. Hit the road. Hit the road means to start some kind of journey. What is going on? Why? I cannot. Why? Okay. So hit the road means to start some kind of journey. This means like uh, you're going somewhere, and at the beginning you say, "All right, bye, John. I have to hit the road." So you get up and you go. And hit the road you can use not only for like long journeys where you're going somewhere far away, but like if you're going home, you can also say, "I've got to hit the road." This basically means to start driving. Not necessarily that you drive yourself, but like if you have a taxi, that's also fine. Hit the road just basically means to start traveling. I think I've explained this already, but hitch a ride means to basically get somebody else to drive you. And hitch is a very good word for this. It's a great collocation for like getting a car. And this can be for money or for free. To run a car. I haven't actually heard people say this that much. I'm not going to bold that. Okay. Autonomous vehicle, driverless car, self-driving car. Very good collocations. All three of these are very strong collocations that basically mean like a Tesla, like a car that can drive itself. Not in Uzbekistan, unfortunately, but there's a lot of countries like in the US where the cars can just drive themselves because the traffic laws, they speak for themselves. Rush hour. Rush hour is the period of time when there are so many cars on the road because everybody is going to work or everybody's going to school. It's basically like the beginning and end of the working day. So the time when people are working. In the driver's seat. This means in control. Synonym. That's it. Good collocation. In the nick of time. This means like there was like this much time left and you made it like perfectly in time. So this is like a pretty good collocation as well. I recommend you to use it. In the nick of time means very, very perfectly in time. Road rage. Road rage is like a situation when somebody on the road does something stupid and then another person becomes angry or aggressive. Yeah, that's it. It's like, you idiots. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so right here, there are a lot of very cool collocations, specifically with prepositions. These are actually not collocations, but they are the correct phrasal verbs to use for the following situations. So whenever you are, let's do this. So set off, I guess we can start with this one. This means whenever you begin a journey. So like I set off for Brazil. This means I started traveling to Brazil. So set off means to start some kind of journey. Get off means to leave some kind of vehicle, any kind of car, any kind of bike, anything. So any of these, you can say get off. Get onto means to board some kind of vehicle. So I got on my bike and I started driving, etc., etc. Get out of means get out of a transport that is like around you. So you can get out of the metro, you can get out of a car, you can get out of a taxi. You cannot get out of a bike and you cannot get out of a ferry, for example. A ferry is like a boat. You can get on and off a ferry. You cannot get out of a ferry, but you can get out of a boat. So keep that in mind. Okay. And get to means travel to some kind of place. So get to Brazil, for example. Okay, cool. So I think that's about it. We're good. We've covered a lot. Very good collocations, especially these ones over here. Generally, good stuff. I recommend you to learn a lot of these. And they are versatile. They can be used for a lot. And you can talk about your hometown with this. You can talk about travel with this. A lot of the times when they ask you about work, they also ask you like topics like, how do you travel to work? Do you use a car, et cetera, et cetera? And for this topic, these vocabulary words are also very important. So let's get to some Band 9 speaking answers. Give me a moment. Okay. Raise your hand if you want to be my speaking assistant for today. Okay, Mr. Asadbek, I think it's going to be you today. Please say hello if you can hear me.
Good evening, Mr. Alex.
What did I do? One moment. Please say hello. Mr. Asadbek.
Good evening.
Oh, perfect. I can hear you. Good. How are you doing, Mr. Asadbek?
Hello.
I can hear you. How are you?
Great. What about you?
I'm doing good. A little bit tired, as usual.
Hello.
Hello. Asadbek, can you hear me? I don't understand.
Yeah. Now I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, I'm a little bit tired, and also because I was sick, I still don't have a lot of strength, so I don't have as much energy to be very excited because I'm a bit tired. Okay, so back. So as I said, as usual, I have sent the questions into the group. I want you to choose 6 questions that you think are interesting. Choose them from the whole list. And you're going to be asking me the questions, and I will be looking at the vocabulary and using it while I'm speaking. All right?
Okay, sure.
Let's
Let's
do
start.
it.
First question. What needs to be improved in public transport?
I think the main drawback of public transport is the amount of people that are using it, which I think to some extent it's a sign that the public transport is comfortable. But I think that if we look at buses, for example, there should just be more buses. Buses should come a lot more often. And for that, I think the government should partner with some kind of car dealership that can provide more cars. A lot of times, buses get into car crashes, and because of that, they have to be replaced. And I think they should just be replaced more often, and there should be more drivers in order to improve public transport.
Wow, amazing. Next question. Which mode of transport is more popular in your country? A bicycle or a car?
The U.S. is very large, and pause. I'm going to answer from the perspective of Tashkent, Uzbekistan, I guess. Okay. I think that in Uzbekistan, cars are a lot more common because of the fact that a lot of people have families, and a lot of people need to support and move their family to different places. They need to travel together with their family, and because of that, a lot of people get driver's licenses, and they buy cars so that they can travel together with their family. A lot of people buy sedans, and that's why I think bikes are not as popular, because people need to travel together with other people and not by themselves.
Wow. Okay, next question. Are there any traffic problems in your area?
Yes. Near my home, there are a lot of places where the road is not very logical, and because of that, a lot of my taxi drivers, they get traffic violations. Also, there's a place where there's literally just like a hole in the ground, and because of that, a lot of my drivers have had like car accidents where they get into the hole, and because of that, they get a lot of car problems. One of my drivers, I think he even broke one of his tires, and he had to use a spare tire because of the hole.
Oh, okay. Thanks. How would you reduce traffic problems in your area?
Say it again. How what?
How would you reduce traffic problems in your area?
I would say reducing traffic is a matter of making the roads more logical. there are a lot of like backups and a lot of traffic jams on the road because of the fact that people don't understand how to drive around that neighborhood. I think, let me give you an example. One of the biggest problems that I know of is the fact that there is a roundabout, which is like a wheel, like a circular part of the road where the cars are supposed to go around. But a lot of drivers in Uzbekistan actually don't know how to use that. And because of this, it's more difficult to travel around. So I think the biggest thing would be to remove that and then make some maybe drastic changes in terms of road laws.
Great. Do you drive often?
No, I myself do not have a traffic. I don't have a driver's license. I really like bicycles and I really like biking and traveling to different places by bike. So I actually know a lot about the laws, like the traffic laws. But I myself don't have a car. I've never driven in my life, which I guess is a little bit unfortunate.
Thanks. And the last question is, do you think building more roads will make getting around in cities easier?
No, I've actually studied this a little bit, and I heard that more roads usually means more traffic, because a lot of the time when you build a new road somewhere, every single driver who knows about that road, they go there, and because of that, it's actually slower. The more cars there are, the more people. The more people there are, and the slower the road is. And so I would say that the best way to reduce traffic would be to work on incentivizing driving at the right times, and maybe changing some work schedules so that people can work at different times of the day. And so not everybody has to drive at the same time. I think that would probably be the best thing to do. But no, roads don't help traffic.
Wow, I loved your answers. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Estabek. Have a good day. All right, so let's continue. So those were the Band 9 sample answers. You should have listened to the answers, and you should have written down my ideas and used them for your own speaking for the homework. Don't forget about that. Okay, let's get into the topic for today, which is compound and complex sentences. We're going to be talking about this for a bit, not too long. One of the most important things for your IELTS test is grammatical range and accuracy. You need to be able to use different types of grammatical structures, different grammar, different tenses, in order to improve your score. You also need to use it accurately, which means it's not just about using the grammar and making the types of sentences, but it's about not making mistakes, speaking correctly, and not making big pauses. This is generally something that you should keep in mind. Never prioritize grammar over lexical resource and fluency. What I mean by lexical resource is if you have an idea about some kind of word that you can use, like a very good high level, band 9 academic word, or like an informal, any kind of word, any kind of good word for IELTS speaking. These words are okay to make pauses for. If you need to make like a little pause in your speech to think about how to use the word, that's fine. But it's not okay to make pauses to think about grammar. A little bit strange, a little bit difficult to explain, but basically grammar should be natural, right? Grammar should just come out of your speech, because grammar is not I don't want to say it's not a part of English, but it's not a part of like the things that you should think about. This should be natural. Whereas vocabulary is usually not something that just happens. It's something that you actually have to think about, even for native speakers. This is the main difference, and this is like one of the main markers, right? How do they know the difference between good fluency and bad fluency? Good fluency is content related. This means that they are listening for the pauses that are about the information. You're pausing to think about what you're going to say. You're not pausing to think about how you're going to say it. This is the difference, and I hope you understand. Pauses are not about what you say, but how you say it. And that's incorrect. It should be what you say rather than how you say it. You're thinking about the information rather than the delivery. So we're going to cover a little bit of compound and complex sentences. We're going to talk about how you can actually use these sentences and for what. And we're also going to be talking about the three main types of clauses and how they work. This list right here is quite, this little document is quite good. You should analyze this, read this, go through it. It is good stuff. So let's get into it. Give me a moment. I think I need to. Okay, I think I'll be fine. Yeah. So let's get into it. Actually, pause. You know what? Before we get into this topic right here, we're gonna do the video part of today because my throat hurts. Give me a moment. Okay, so here's the video. I think this is actually the video that I was talking about that taught me that more roads means more traffic. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm gonna play the video right now.
The Katy Freeway in Texas.
Okay, can you hear it? Raise your hand in the chat if you can hear the video. Sorry. Okay. So I think it's working. Perfect. Let's watch the video, and then afterwards we will do some discussion. So yeah, let's get into it.
Connects Houston's western. The Katy Freeway in Texas connects Houston's western suburbs with the city's downtown. At its widest point right here, it spans 26 lanes, including parallel roads, before it intersects with another freeway, creating this massive web of pavement. The Katy Freeway is among the widest in the world, but it didn't start out this big. The freeway was initially built in the 1960s with 6 lanes in most places. But as the suburbs and office space around Houston started growing in the 1980s and 90s, and more people began using the freeway,
Wait a second. Did that just mute the video? Did you hear the video? So somebody, please message me on Telegram. So right now, while the video was playing, did you hear it? Because I muted myself, but I don't know whether that muted the video or not. Can somebody please message me? Okay, I'm going to play the video right now. If you can hear it, message me. If not, don't message me. Wait, or actually just message me. Can you hear it or not? Give me a second. Okay, so right now, in a second, wait.
Became a traffic nightmare. By 2004, it was ranked the second worst bottleneck in the country.
Okay, if you heard that, message me. If not. Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, that's good because I muted myself, but I thought the video was also muted. Okay, yeah, so let's continue. My apologies. Thank you.
To accommodate the growing commuter class, the city began a nearly $3 billion expansion project to add the additional lanes. The solution seems natural. More lanes equals less congestion. But traffic didn't get any better. In fact, it got worse in both the morning and afternoon commutes. The reason why hinges on a simple economic theory, one that is often overlooked because actually reducing traffic is far from simple. Highway expansion has gone hand in hand with the suburbanization of American cities like Houston. It becomes a self-fulfilling recipe for urban sprawl. A highway gets built to connect suburbs to a city center, which encourages more development along it, which necessitates even more highways when those get congested, and on and on and on. The instinct to widen highways to relieve traffic makes sense, but there's a reason it doesn't work, due to a concept called induced demand. These represent 3 highway lanes. And these balls are the commuters that drive on them. These particular commuters, the red ones, will sit in traffic no matter how bad it gets, because they have to. Driving to work on the highway is their only option. This is what congestion looks like during peak rush hours. Once a certain number of cars get on the highway, traffic slows to a crawl. Now let's add a new lane. These drivers now have more room to spread out, which should make traffic flow better. That might happen at first, but it doesn't stay that way. That's because there's another set of people who will take the highway under the right conditions, even though they have other commuting options. When a highway is congested, they might take local roads instead, or be able to drive during off-peak hours. They might use other modes of transportation like public transit or biking, or maybe they can work from home that day and skip the commute altogether. In a few years, these people will start taking the highway, enticed by less congestion. This is induced demand at play. The more supply there is, the more demand will follow to exhaustion. And in this case, the supply is highway lanes. And sometimes, like on the Katy Freeway, congestion gets even worse after a highway expansion, until some of the people with more options go back to their old ways. But in the end, you're still left with more drivers, and congestion that's at least as bad as it was before.
When our transportation system is so reliant on highways and private automobiles, there's almost no way around it, because that's the system that we've created.
This is Kyle Shelton, an urbanist based in Houston.
The endless reduction of congestion, should that be the driving policy question for a lot of our transportation funding?
Big, expensive highway infrastructure projects are still the prevailing band-aid to congestion in the U.S. The transit advocacy group Transportation for America found that between 1993 and 2017, the U.S. added over 30,000 miles of new freeway lanes in 100 metro areas. Building more highways may provide some short-term relief, and it's easier than most infrastructure projects to get federal funding to do a highway expansion. But if we want less traffic and fewer drivers, giving flexible commuters better choices is a good place to start. Like by improving public transit by adding more and better bus routes or trains. That alone might not be a silver bullet for congestion relief, for the same reason that adding another lane isn't. New drivers will take the place of transit commuters on the highway. And for many people living off highways in sprawling U.S. cities, public transit may never be an adequate solution.
Because it's not just about the infrastructure, it's also about individual behaviors, it's about where job opportunities are located, and most of our cities have now been constructed in this way where the car is the prime mode.
Another option is to enact policies that actively disincentivize people from using the highway, like congestion pricing, which charges people who drive on highways during rush hours, or remote work programs that deter people from traveling during the highest traffic times, or make it so they don't have to commute at all. And in the long term, better land use policies can help as well, like by building communities that put people closer to where they need to go. And if building more highways results in more drivers and congestion, then removing them could have the opposite effect. For example, the city of Boston removed a freeway in its city center in the 1990s and replaced it with a boulevard with biking and bus lanes and more space to walk. It reduced congestion by 62%. And now the democratically controlled Senate is considering nearly $10 billion in funding for similar highway removal projects in other cities. What we build and invest in the world of transportation truly changes our behavior. If building more roads makes us drive on them more, then giving people better choices by investing in the right things will make us drive less. Because if we build it, they will come.
Okay. Yeah. As I think I've said before, and also there's actually a video on the channel about this. Vox is one of my favorite channels. They make like cool content. The design is good. It's interesting, and they have like interesting stuff. It's good stuff. It's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So let's do some typing, speaking. Wait, actually pause. How much? 40 minutes. Okay. Okay. So here are the questions. Let me actually choose the questions from today's lesson. I guess let's do this one. Okay. Okay, here are the questions. They are in the group. You can start writing your answers for them. Let's get into it. Okay. Since we have a bit less people today, I have some time to actually give you more feedback on your answers, which is good. Sorry. I think that is helpful for a lot of people. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. Jahongir Jabarov. I think that it can be. So the question is, do you want your children to drive in the future? You cannot answer, it can be. So it would be better to say, I think it's possible. Or you can say, I'm not sure whether I want my children to drive in the future. Or you can say, maybe I will want my children to drive in the future. Remember, for part one, this is a part one question. Your answers need to be worded very specifically. Part one is factual, which means that the best way to answer is just by copying the same grammatical structure as the question. So, do you want your children to drive in the future? Yes, I want my children to drive in the future. Maybe I want my children to drive in the future. No, I don't want my children to drive in the future. Remember, the answer should be the same as the question. Number two. Jahongir. It's for number two. I'm stupid. I apologize. Nowadays, many people are buying new cars, and we can see two or more than two. We can see two or more than two cars in one person. In one person. The car is in the person. Oh no, that's definitely not good for health. As well as this. You cannot say as well as at the beginning of the sentence. That's incorrect. So as well as this. As well as this, it increases the amount of pollution in the air. The most terrible thing is that many people can be late because of the traffic on the road. You never say traffic in the road, it's on the road. Nothing is in the road. On, always, because the road is flat. So it'd be better for everyone if the public transportation is free or cheaper. In this order, it's a little bit strange. It would be better to say if it is cheaper or free, because if you say it's free or cheaper, I imagine cheaper than free? How? So yeah, work a little bit on your answer, but otherwise not bad. Is this American Psycho? Why? He's a bad... Patrick Bateman is a bad man. I think that public transport is very cheap nowadays. So due to this, they are already filled with people. But even if the government would make them without any fees, that would only be a short-term relief. I mean that the first thing that would happen, remember, you need to use different vocabulary, grammar structures. So I think the better way to say it would be, I mean that the first thing that would happen would be that many people would use public transport. But when they get very uncomfortable with the large amounts of people, especially in the rush hours, then people will again start to run their cars or drive their cars. To be honest, I don't really want my children to commute anywhere by themselves on a driver's seat, in the driver's seat. Because I think that driving by my offspring might be time-consuming, and relying on artificial intelligence robots will be a better option, as they can spend their precious time on the road by doing something more beneficial, like learning something new. Cool. Good answer. Good job, Husni. In the driver's seat. In my opinion, people may use more public transport if they are free. But guys, remember, public transport, singular, not plural. Singular, always. If they're free. Because all people economize their money. Because most people try to save money. This is something that I think we should all just keep in mind. Be careful with the words all and always. And also, whenever you're speaking, most often, native speakers, they say things like pretty much, quite like, something like. We always try to make our sentences not absolute. We try to make them smaller. So, kind of like, something like, these phrases are very good. As a result, they avoid using private cars. Moreover, public transport can help to reduce air pollution. So people might use more public transport in the future, I think. I'd like my children to be able to drive in the future, as I think that cars nowadays have significant importance and cannot be considered a luxury, not as luxury. As for myself, I often regret that I cannot drive my parents to some place or pick them up from any destination. Of course, I try to book a taxi in order to save their time to reach any point and to ease their efforts. I don't understand why ease their efforts. Ease their travel, especially when they are carrying something heavy. Remove stuff. That's why I often think that I'll make my children get a driver's license. I won't that. What does I won't that mean? I will not do that because in the future there are plenty of cars on the way that are going... What? Okay. I think you're answering question number 1. So your answer should be answering question number 1. So do you want your children to drive in the future? I don't want my children to drive in the future because there will be plenty of cars on the road, not on the way, remember, on the road. Lots of young drivers will be driving and it will cause many traffic accidents. And I am very afraid of that. That would be a better structure. Work a bit on your grammar. In my opinion, it does not solve the problem. If public transport is free of charge. Making public transport free of charge does not solve the problem. There are lots of advantages to having cars. For instance, a majority of people want to buy brand new cars and drive them. Car producing companies are likely to advertise their products, and people can easily become addicted to buying them. In addition to this, people want to save their time by driving their own vehicles. Not bad. Good. Very good answer, Farida. Awesome. Work a bit on your grammar and make the corrections that I told you, but otherwise this is good. Okay, you're up. I definitely want to. I don't have a driver's license, even though I'm 22 years old. But in the future, I intend for my children to have a driver's license and have their own cars. Very good sentence. Just beautiful, delicious. For part 1, straight to the point, fast, quick, perfect. Additionally, if my children would drive in the future, they will help people which can't drive cars and older people that can't find their destinations. This is not bad, but the second sentence I think is a little bit less important. It's still quite good, but the second sentence, additionally after this, work a little bit on this. But this is just perfect. Literally the perfect structure. Direct answer, explanation, additional info. Perfect. Very good part 1 answer. Jamshid Armanov. Well, actually, I will want my children to have good driving skills because knowing how to drive makes one independent. Being a good driver will also be important in the future. Perfect answer. Very good. A little bit short, but otherwise good answer. That question always continues to be controversial thanks to different kinds of views of society. You do not need the word the. However, it is unlikely to be so. It is unlikely to be so, as personal transports like cars have already become the integral part of normal daily life of humanity. Don't use the word humanity, of people. I think you tried to use a synonym for the word people and you chose humanity. Not a good synonym. People is better. Daily life of people by being very comfortable. Just make it more simple. I think the biggest thing, make your answer more simple, specifically this one. You're using a lot of like structures and vocab and grammar that doesn't make sense. I don't really like it. Doesn't sound as good as making it more simple. Like, here's how I think you could answer. Okay. So that question always continues to be controversial. No. However, I think that making public transport free is unlikely to change anything, because personal transport is already very important to people, to people's lives every day, and they are very comfortable, which makes life very straightforward. I think, yeah, that's it. Okay, yeah. Jamshed, actually, perhaps if the government establishes more public transport for free public transport. Okay, good. Not bad. Once again, make your answers a bit longer, Jamshed Davranov. All right, cool. So I think we can now move on. Let's move on to the last part of today. Wait. Okay, so good job to everybody who wrote their answers. Let's do the last part. Give me a moment. Okay. So here is the last part of today. Once again, let's kind of finish this. Here are the grammar things that you need to keep in mind. As always, this is not a grammar course, which means that I'm not going to be going very in-depth into this, but I just want to cover it in general. A clause is a very simple part of a sentence. It is the subject plus the verb. So Alex ran or Alex ate is a clause. It is a full sentence. It is an independent clause, which means that it is by itself a complete sentence. There are two types of conjunctions. There are coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are conjunctions which connect two independent clauses. For example, Alex ate cheese and John opened the door. These two things are happening at the same time. You can also make the sentence a little bit more complex. For example, you can make it more difficult. It's still a compound sentence. For example, Alex ate cheese, but John ate only carrots. So here you are explaining, like, the differences between what these two people eat. So you can make relatively difficult sentences with coordinating conjunctions, but they are not complex sentences, they are compound sentences. They are still very important for your IELTS score. Whenever you use subordinating conjunctions, so coordinating conjunctions, this is what they are. If I can, they should be right here. Okay, they're not here. Coordinating conjunctions, I think they were in the other lesson. They are fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Subordinating conjunctions, so the other type, they are all of the other ones. Because, or, because, so that, however, they are the other type. And basically, you use these to make three types of clauses. All three of these are called dependent clauses. They do different things. They can be an adverb, they can be a noun, or they can be an adjective. And they function the same way. So if we look at this, I am not sure how university education will change in the future. This is basically one noun. I don't think this explains it very well. Let me give you an example. I don't like how Alex eats cheese. So how Alex eats cheese is a noun clause. This is a whole noun. It's like, I don't like cheese, right? This is I don't like, and then the noun should be after that. So how Alex eats cheese is basically a noun. This functions as one noun. It is the same for adverb clauses. This is an adverb, and it's the same for adjective clauses. This is an adjective. And this is the same for the other types of clauses. Sorry, not the other type of clauses, the other types of conjunctions. So because, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. So let's continue. Next is comparative structures. These are very important for questions that ask you to compare. There's a lot of questions connected to, talking about the future, talking about compare the future and the past, etc., etc. So here are some good structures. Not as adjective as something. So my sister is as tall as me. My sister is not as tall as me. Many people prefer not to walk. No. I think that people nowadays are not as hungry as they used to be. So this is the structure. Very good structure. Keep this in mind. Yeah. Comparatives. I think you guys know this. Good, better, the best. Hungry, hungrier, the hungriest. Comparatives and superlatives, also very important. The passive voice we already talked about, also very important. And modal verbs are very important for complex structures, and they're very important for showing complexity with verbs. So because of this, they can't keep up with the assignments. Basically, they show the relationship between the verb and the rest of the sentence. Yeah. So that's about it for today. These are the things you should be using: modal verbs, passive voice, comparatives, and complex sentence types. You can ask more questions from Mr. Shahzad. You can just message and he'll give you some kind of explanation. But this is general English level stuff. You should already know most of this. So yeah, that's about it for today. Thank you guys. I hope all of you have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.